we are happy to report that we are able to speak live now to the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, who's in Montego Bay on the north of the island. Prime Minister, thank you very much for making the time to talk to us here at BBC News. We know that you do not have the complete picture yet of the scale of the damage caused by the hurricane, but what can you tell us at this point?
Well, I've just had the opportunity to do an aerial tour of the most damaged areas. And for the southwestern end of the island, particularly for the parishes of St. Elizabeth, Hanover, St. James, where I am now, parts of Manchester, it is serious damage and in some instances, total devastation. In particular, one town, Black River, has been, you could literally say, totally destroyed. The corridor along which the eye of the hurricane made landfall and proceeded, what you could effectively say is a trail of destruction. I would say about 80 to 90% of roofs were destroyed, hospitals destroyed, libraries, police station, courthouses, urban infrastructure destroyed. So the southwestern end of the island has had serious devastation.
On a personal level, can you describe for us the impact this is having on you, seeing this level of devastation? Obviously, you will have experienced hurricanes before, but not one of this strength, the storm of the century. I'm sure you'll have heard that term being used as it built up in strength prior to making landfall in Jamaica.
Well, you know, no one wants to experience a Category 5 hurricane. There's scarcely any infrastructure that can withstand the strength and devastation that a Category 5 hurricane carries with it. This obviously would not be the first hurricane that we have experienced. Last year we had Hurricane Beryl. The areas that were impacted by this hurricane, I would say, would be twice as devastated as the impact of Hurricane Beryl. For me personally, it is a challenge. Obviously, you really don't want to see your country going through this. But the Jamaican people are highly resilient, strong people, and we will recover from this and recover even stronger.
Prime Minister, I know you are still, of course, assessing the damage. We saw the U.S. Secretary of State say that rescue teams are on the way. Can you tell us a bit more about what kind of help Jamaica needs right now and what the international community is offering?
Well, we've had very good response from the international community. You mentioned Secretary Rubio, the French, yourselves, the British. CARICOM has really come on board to assist. And we'll be getting assistance, as you have mentioned, help with search and rescue, humanitarian relief. The offers of help have been very expansive, and we're very much appreciative to the international community for the support that is forthcoming so far.
What about the immediate aid, Prime Minister? Water, restoring power. What is it going to take to be able to deliver that in the coming hours and days?
Well, we have a strategy in place for that, and we're going to have the restoration of electricity and telecommunications in the areas that have not been so badly affected. That's the first step. And then we do a comprehensive assessment of the areas that have been really affected. So I would suspect that within the coming days that you will begin to see the restoration of electricity right across the island. In the areas that have been badly affected, it may be a matter of weeks, but I give the assurance to my citizens that we'll be working very hard to have our electricity and telecommunications restored.
Prime Minister, obviously you're focused on immediate needs, but coming back to that idea of resilience that you mentioned a short while ago, I spoke to someone yesterday, Tuesday, in Jamaica, who said that looking further ahead, the country has got to rebuild, not based on what's happened in the past, but to rebuild for future impacts. I'm sure that is something that you have been thinking about. Do you believe that Jamaica will be able to rebuild differently, given the strength of the storm that it has just experienced?
Well, we have a very robust strategy for resilience building, including resilience in our fiscal management and resilience in our infrastructure. We have actually started rebuilding our infrastructure in ways that take into account the new climate that we have. The truth is that our colonial history would have seen our infrastructure develop along coastal areas. And now we have started to move our roadways and highways more internal. And we have improved our building codes. So many of our buildings were able to withstand the hurricane. But you're right, much more needs to be done in terms of ensuring that resilience is mainstream into all aspects of life in Jamaica.
But on that climate issue, you have been advocating for more accessible and flexible climate finance for small islands. And do you think, though, the world is listening, that the countries who historically and indeed in a contemporary sense are responsible for the greatest number of carbon emissions, the greatest amount of carbon emissions, are really listening to the needs of places like Jamaica?
I think the climate debate is one that is seriously challenged in today's world. But the science is clear. There is warming taking place, and it is causing a change in our climate, and the impact of which we feel on a daily basis in the Caribbean, which is more frequent, more intense storms and hurricanes, and that is having a devastating impact on our infrastructure and on our economy. I think the world conscience, the international conscience, must be to ensure that countries like Jamaica, small island developing states, that there is a certain equity, a certain fairness, a certain climate justice, that countries like Jamaica would be able to access financing and development support in ways that helps us to build resilience, to mitigate against the challenges, and indeed to rebuild our economy when they are damaged by these natural disasters, which are indeed linked to climate change.
Prime Minister, I want to come back to where you are in Montego Bay. Can you tell us what some of the Jamaicans you've been meeting today have been telling you about their experience and their concerns?
Well, many are still in shock. Some are very much anxious now about the future, great uncertainty. But as I said earlier, the spirit of Jamaica is that we are a strong people, we're a resilient people. So we will bounce back from this, we will rebuild, and we will rebuild stronger. So I give a message of hope to the Jamaican people that your government will be able to mount a credible humanitarian and recovery response, that the international community is watching, is concerned, and there will be a mobilization of support. So Jamaica will recover and recover very quickly.
And Prime Minister, before we let you go, what is the number one priority for you and your government in the coming hours?
In the coming hours, we need to reach the communities that have been marooned. So we are clearing roads, trying to get to those communities. We need to bring the humanitarian relief to them, food, temporary shelter, medicine, and in some instances, water. So that's the immediate attention right now. We do have a very robust, as I've said before, disaster management plan and administrative bureaucracy behind the scenes. So we should be able to stand up all the necessary elements of our effective relief program.